Man, it sure is hot out here for me and my friends. Some ways to beat the heat coming up right after this. I'm Alan Smith, welcome to the show. Well, it sure is hot out here, a typical summer day. But in today's show, we're going to cover some ways to beat the heat. We're going to go to a city known for its water. It's also a really fun place to visit, but we'll get to it a little later. We're also going to take a look at how to make your very own herbal tea garden and tackle a pesky grasshopper problem. Plus, we'll see how the roses are handling the heat and answer a viewer question. And don't forget about the recipe. I have a great recipe for grilled pizzas I can't wait to show you. Well, as you can see, we've got a lot in store for today's show. Also, a few hungry sheep. But we'll get started right after the break, so don't go away. Proven Winners plants can withstand your spring and summer weather. Proven Winners, the #1 plant brand. Visit provenwinners.com. A beautiful and intriguing place to visit is Hot Springs, Arkansas, also known as the Spa City. Surrounded by the Ouachita Mountains, everywhere you look there's an inspiring view. Plus it's home to several natural springs that are thousands of years old. Mountain Valley spring water itself has been around for well over 100 years. And when I was recently in Hot Springs, Breck Speed helped me better understand the history of this place. I want to show you this really interesting place. It's the home of the oldest bottled water company in the United States. Come on in. Breck, I'm really enjoying this behind-the-scenes tour of the inside of this building. I've admired it for a long time from the exterior. It's really a handsome building built at the end of the 19th century, I assume?
That's correct. It was originally built as the DeSoto Water Company's place of business, and the old DeSoto Springs still resides in the corner of this building. And this was the drinking pavilion where people came and enjoyed DeSoto water and then perhaps ordered it to take home.
And of course the name DeSoto harkens back to Hernando de Soto, who was actually hanging out around here around the 1540, 1542 range.
That's right. DeSoto discovered this Valley of the Vapors with the hot springs in it that was always popular with the Native Americans, and then later on the rest of the folks that immigrated to the United States and enjoyed the healing hot springs. The bottled water business in the United States really began in the early 1800s up in New York, around Saratoga, New York, and it was very famous for its its waters. It, like Hot Springs, is a place where they have horse races. They used to have a big resort area, and people would go there to feel good, to drink the waters, to get healthy, and then they'd want to take that water home with them. Mountain Valley got started in 1871 as a result of that. People would come here to take the hot baths, to relax, to restore health, and then they'd want to take that water home. So Mountain Valley was bottled here locally for more local traffic, but it was also put in large containers and transported to the major cities around the United States in large metal containers where it would be then bottled locally.
So really the building itself just represents a place where people could come and take the water, but behind the building, as it were, there are actual springs that are still in use today.
That's correct. This is really just the storefront, the face of Mountain Valley Water. Mountain Valley's springs are 10 miles north of here on 2,000 acres that Mountain Valley has owned and protected for 140 years now. Located on what's known as the Ouachita Plateau. They're very, very ancient mountains that are older than the Rockies. They're eroded down. Mountains may be a bit of a glorified term for what they are now, but it's an old geological source with granite overlay, and it takes 3,500 years for the water that falls as rain on our property to get down to the aquifer and then re-emerge is our natural spring water. So the water that's there has been there a long time. We own the property over the top of it. It's all protected, and we pay a lot of attention to that.
So the water you drink today was rainfall 3,500 years ago?
That's correct. It falls on that property. We don't allow any other activity except for the bottling of the water on that property.
Well, the bottling plant today is really sort of a modern miracle. It's beautiful, pristine, and very efficient.
It is. It's a beautiful bottling plant. If you look from the outside, you can still see the rockwork from the original bottling plant and the doors where they used to back up wagons. That's where some of our clean rooms are now and our quality control labs. We really feel like we're stewards of this wonderful resource, the Mountain Valley water that people love and rely on, and we'll be passing this on down to the next generation.
After the break, I'll show you what I have in my herbal tea garden, and we'll talk about this amazing plant, so stay tuned. If you enjoy fresh herbal tea, then I have a simple project for you. Try growing your own tea garden. All you need is a good-sized container, quality potting soil, and the herb plants you want to use. I've grown lemon balm, mint, and stevia. I enjoy the flavors of the lemon balm and mint. You see, they're very soothing, especially after a long day working in the garden. And then the stevia is an excellent substitute for sugar. Not only is it a natural sweetener that's better for you, but it's also 15 times sweeter than regular sugar. So try planting your own herbal tea garden. You'll be glad you did. For many of us, it can be frustrating when your plants are losing the battle with the heat of summer. While walking through my city garden last summer, I was thrilled to find one of my favorite plants not fazed one bit by the brutal heat. I don't know about you, but I'm always looking for plants for my garden that require very little care, like this Supertunia Vista Bubblegum Pink. It's really great, lots of flower power. And this one called Euphorbia Diamond Frost. Just take a look at it. I just love its tiny, delicate flowers. It's so good in containers. Now, don't let its ethereal quality fool you. This is one tough plant. You know, it's both heat and drought tolerant, pushing itself right through the dog days of summer. You see, the unstoppable flower power and this airy form makes it an excellent alternative to any sort of filler you might need in a container or in a flower bed. You see, it's a compact grower reaching a mature height of 12 to 18 inches. Now come up here, I want to show you something. This is just 3 plants in a container this size. That's an 18-inch terracotta pot. Notice I have a saucer. That helps make sure that the soil stays consistently moist. But just look at the size of this presentation. It's really quite gorgeous. You see, Diamond Frost, what it needs is full to partial sun, and it needs very good drainage, but you want to make sure the soil stays moist like I just mentioned. And there's one other display I want you to see. Just look at this. It's a simple combination of that gorgeous Diamond Frost along with this coleus called Dipped Wine. Great combo. Now, one other thing about Diamond Frost, it actually can serve as a house plant. It likes it warm, so as soon as temperatures begin to drop, that's when you're going to have problems with it in the garden, but you can sit it in a south-facing window and enjoy it through the fall and winter. Give it a try. After the break, we'll see how my knockout roses are handling the heat, so stay with us. I'd like to point out something that I think is rather remarkable. You see here the temperatures for the last week have soared well above 100, but despite these tough conditions, this flower border continues to thrive. If you take a look across this border, you'll find that there's buddleia, grasses, coleus, as well as petunias. But the star of this border really is the knockout rose. And if you look down through this border, you'll see that that rose really carries the lion's share of the visual interest here. And it's done so for over 2 seasons now. That's what's so wonderful about having this shrub rose in this garden. I can always depend on it. When we laid out the beds, we packed in 2 different varieties of the knockouts, double knockout and pink double knockout. And I planted them about 3 feet, 30 inches or so apart. Now the key here was really based on 3 different things: good drainage for the soil, good soil, and plenty of sunlight, and we certainly have that here. You see, this knockout family of roses has set a new standard in disease resistance with little to no maintenance required. So the care of this is not as important really as getting it right in the beginning when you plant them. You see, these roses are black spot resistant, drought tolerant, and self-cleaning. This rose suits really every garden and every lifestyle. This plant really does have a lot of flower power, and to boost it, I'm going to come in here and cut off about the top 6 inches, all these dead blooms, and it'll flush again. You see, this rose blooms for me from late April, early May, all the way to Thanksgiving. There's really no easier rose to have if you want roses in your garden. Got it. I'm often asked, how do you get rid of these guys, grasshoppers? It can be a real problem in the garden, very damaging, and they're difficult to control because they're so mobile. They're hopping around everywhere. And what I find is that they can be more prevalent in years where we have a dry spring and a hot, dry summer. This year it seems we've seen more grasshoppers than previous years. They seem to be chewing up everything in sight. The best time to get a handle on a grasshopper problem is early in the summer when the insects are still in their juvenile stage. Check areas of tall grasses or weeds where they like to breed and lay their eggs. This is where you'll find those little guys that eventually grow up to big grasshoppers, the ones that do all the damage. Now, one direct way to approach this is a 2-fold strategy. For immediate results, spray them with some insecticidal soap. Next, sprinkle your plants or the area where you're seeing a lot of damage with an organic insecticide and with diatomaceous earth. You see, this is a dust that's actually made up of tiny algae fossils that cut into the grasshopper's exoskeleton, causing them to dehydrate and eventually die. When grasshoppers come in contact or ingest the powder, they'll die within 24 hours, and they cannot become immune to this killing action. Now, you can try planting things that grasshoppers don't like. About the only thing I've ever heard they won't eat is cilantro. Or you can get a few chickens and keep them around. They can add a lot of amusement as they chase down the grasshoppers and gobble them up. The grasshoppers in their diet just make the eggs a little sweeter. Give it a try. We need to take another short break, but when we return, I'll meet you at the grill for this fantastic recipe, so stay tuned. If you love pizza, you're going to love this way of going about making it. I love to grill it on the grill. It's a perfect way to add a little zest to your summer grilling. What I'm starting out with are some pieces of pizza dough. You can make it yourself, or you can pick some up at your local grocery store, your favorite pizza place. I'm just going to take a little olive oil and I'm going to brush it onto these before I throw the pizza dough onto the grill. Throw that down here, and then one here, and one back there. And I'm just going to brush on a little oil on this side as well. It only takes a minute. You want to grill the pizza crust for 1 minute. If it's really thin, maybe it won't take that long. You're going to put this back on the oven once we get them all decked out with lots of toppings and flavors. Okay, so I've turned the grill down to low because we've cooked the pizza dough. What I'm going to do is do this one, which is basically a cheese and meat pizza. I've taken these caramelized onions. I'm just going to place them here on the bread. A little blue cheese, maybe a lot of blue cheese. A lot of blue cheese, here we go. Yummy for blue cheese lovers, you're going to love that. And then here's some steak strips for the meat lover in the family. I'm just going to kind of line those along here. A lot of this you can prepare ahead of time. All right, so there's that one. You get the idea. Now I'm going to do the garden, which is goat cheese. So lots of goat cheese along the top here like this. And then I've been roasting some of these vegetables. What I did with the vegetables is I grilled them. I applied some olive oil to them first. As you can see, they're in thin strips. I have zucchini. I'll layer some zucchini here. It's so good when it's grilled, and some eggplant, and also some fennel, all fresh and right out of the garden. Well, except for the mushrooms. Okay, now the next one we're going to do is the classic, which requires a classic pizza sauce made with tomatoes. This is really easy to do. It's a recipe anyone could make. You want to start by taking 2 tablespoons of olive oil and a half a cup of chopped onion and 1 garlic clove that's minced. And you want to saute the onion and the garlic and the olive oil until the onions are clear. And then just add 6 plum tomatoes after you've peeled and minced them. I love Roma, we grow those here. And then a 6-ounce can of tomato paste, followed by 2 tablespoons of grated Parmesan cheese, a half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of sugar, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I like to throw in 1 small bay leaf and 1 teaspoon of fennel seed. Then you want this to cook for about 30 to 40 minutes on medium heat. And it's going to cook down to look like this, a beautiful tomato sauce. And what I want to do is just apply this to the bread. About like this. Get creative. All sorts of things you can put on here. I have some Italian sausage. And some pepperoni. Love the pepperoni. And then we're going to finish it off with some mozzarella. This one's really good. Okay, now they're ready to throw on the grill. I'm just going to add a little cracked pepper. And they just need to stay on the grill long enough for the cheese to melt. To help facilitate that, I'm just going to take some aluminum foil and create a little tent. The heat will build up under it and melt the cheese, and they're ready to eat. Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, and I hope you've picked up a few tips that will help you with some of your grilling endeavors. Until next time, good eating and good health. How would you like plants in your garden that are not only beautiful, but also edible? Plants such as blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, and grapes aren't just delicious, they're amazing additions to many landscapes. To make it easy on you, my P. Allen Smith Edibles collection is offered in 2-pack sets that are lightweight and easy to handle. For more information on planting, visit berrynurseries.com. Throughout the summer, I hope you'll remember to remain hydrated when you're outside and make sure you wear sunscreen. Just look at this sunny knockout rose. It's really showing off today. You know, anything in today's show you can find on my website. It's pallansmith.com. That includes information on visiting hot springs as well as that delicious recipe. Until next time, from the garden, I'm Alan Smith. Hey, let's stay in touch. There's so many interesting and beautiful things going on out at the garden home. Just subscribe to my newsletter, pallansmith.com/e-newsletter/subscribe.
In this garden I dream of a bed of flowers. Bluebirds sing of the beauty all around us. And every time the sun comes out, I can't help but smile. Oh, no, I can't help but smile.